A photograph was posted on social media 48 hours ago that has since been shared over 2 million times. The image shows a teenage boy standing in the background of a family photo taken at a church in São Paulo, Brazil. Nobody in the family knew this teenager. Nobody saw him when the photo was taken. But when the image was uploaded and people started commenting, hundreds of people from different countries independently identified the figure in the background as Carlo Acutis. Within hours, the family discovered something that made this photograph impossible to explain naturally. The church where this photo was taken houses a first-class relic of Carlo Acutis, and the figure appears to be standing directly in front of the reliquary. What started as a simple family photo has become a viral phenomenon being investigated by church authorities, analyzed by photography experts, and shared by millions of people who believe they're witnessing documented proof of a saint's presence. The family at the center of this viral miracle had no idea what they'd captured until the internet told them. What they've learned since has changed their lives and sparked a global conversation about how saints interact with us in the digital age. Subscribe immediately and turn on notifications because this story is developing in real time. New information is emerging hourly. Photography experts are releasing analysis. Church investigators are examining the original image file, and the number of people claiming to recognize Carlo in the photograph keeps growing. You need to stay updated as this unfolds. The Santos family, Miguel, Elena, and their 3 children, attended Sunday Mass at Nossa Senhora Aparecida Church in São Paulo on November 3rd. It was an ordinary Sunday. Nothing felt unusual or significant. After Mass, as families often do, they wanted a photo together in front of the altar. Elena asked another parishioner to take the picture using her phone. The parishioner took 3 photos in quick succession. The Santos family thanked her, glanced briefly at the images to make sure everyone was smiling, and went home. The photos sat in Elena's phone for 2 days. On Tuesday evening, Elena was organizing photos and decided to post the best family photo from Sunday Mass on her Instagram account with a simple caption, "Blessed Sunday with my beautiful family." Drop a comment below if you've ever discovered something in a photograph that you didn't see when the picture was taken. Digital images sometimes capture more than our eyes perceive in the moment. Elena posted the photo around 7 p.m. Brazil time and didn't think about it again. She went about her evening routine, dinner, helping kids with homework, watching television with Miguel. She checked her phone around 10 p.m. and was shocked to see her post had over 300 comments and had been shared dozens of times. The comments were all saying the same thing. Who is the boy in the background? Do you see the teenager behind your family? That looks like Carlo Acutis. Is that a saint in your photo? Elena opened the image and zoomed in on the background. Her breath caught. Behind her family, partially visible in the space between her husband and her oldest son, stood a teenage boy. He was wearing what appeared to be casual clothes, jeans or dark pants and a hoodie or jacket. His face was partially obscured, but clearly visible enough to show he was looking directly at the camera. Or more accurately, looking directly at the Santos family. Elena called Miguel over to look at the phone. "Did you see anyone standing behind us when this photo was taken?" Miguel zoomed in on the figure, confused. "No, I didn't see anyone. The altar area was empty except for us." They pulled up the other 2 photos taken in the same sequence. The figure appeared in all 3 images, in slightly different positions, suggesting movement rather than a static photographic artifact. In the first photo, the figure was more to the left. In the second photo, centered behind the family. In the third photo, slightly to the right. If this story is giving you chills and making you question what's possible in our digital world, hit that like button right now and share this video. This photograph is spreading across the internet at unprecedented speed. Elena began reading the comments more carefully. People were posting comparison images, screenshots of Carlo Acutis placed next to zoomed portions of the Santos family photo. The resemblance was striking. The dark hair, the youthful face, the build and posture. Multiple people were convinced this was Carlo Acutis appearing in the background of a family photo. One comment included information that made Elena's heart race. That church has a relic of Carlo Acutis. The figure in your photo is standing right where the reliquary is kept. Elena had attended this church for years, but hadn't known about the relic. She looked up the church's website. Sure enough, Nossa Senhora Aparecida Church had been gifted a first-class relic of Blessed Carlo Acutis in 2023, a small piece of cloth that had touched his body before burial. The next morning, Elena went to the church and spoke with Father Gustavo, the parish priest. She showed him the viral photograph on her phone, which by that point had been shared thousands of times. Father Gustavo examined the image carefully, then took Elena to a side chapel. There, in an ornate reliquary, was the relic of Carlo Acutis. Father Gustavo pointed to where the family had been standing when the photo was taken. If you were right here, and someone was standing behind you near the reliquary, they would appear in the photograph exactly where this figure appears. Father Gustavo asked Elena to send him the original image file, not a screenshot, but the actual photo as it came from her phone's camera. He wanted to examine it for signs of manipulation or editing. Elena sent all 3 photos from the sequence. Father Gustavo forwarded them to the Archdiocese of São Paulo with a request for investigation. By Wednesday afternoon, the story had been picked up by Catholic news outlets in Brazil. By Wednesday evening, international Catholic media was reporting on the viral photograph. By Thursday morning, secular news outlets were covering the story. The image was everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, WhatsApp groups. People were analyzing it, debating it, sharing their own interpretations. Photography experts began weighing in. Dr. Ana Silva, a forensic photography analyst in São Paulo, examined the image file's metadata and structure. Her preliminary findings, posted on her professional blog, stated, "The image shows no evidence of digital manipulation or editing. The XIF data is consistent with an unedited photo taken by an iPhone 13 on November 3, 2024, at 11:47 a.m. The figure in the background appears to be present in the original image, not added post-capture. While unusual, this does not appear to be a hoax or deliberate fabrication." Share this video immediately with everyone you know. This photograph is potentially the first viral miracle of the social media age, a supernatural event documented digitally and spread through the internet to millions of people within hours. Another photography expert, Carlos Mendes, analyzed the lighting and shadows in the image. His assessment: the figure in the background has lighting consistent with the ambient light in the church at the time the photo was taken. The shadows fall correctly. The depth of field places the figure at the correct distance behind the family. Whatever this is, it's not a cardboard cutout or a photoshopped addition. Something physical was present when this image was captured. The debate online intensified. Skeptics argued it must be another parishioner who happened to be in the background. Believers argued that the Santos family and other attendees insist no one was standing in that location. Skeptics suggested it could be a trick of light and shadow, creating a face-like pattern. Believers pointed to the figure appearing in all 3 sequential photos in slightly different positions. The Archdiocese of São Paulo issued a statement Thursday afternoon. "We are aware of the photograph circulating on social media and have begun preliminary investigation. The image has been submitted to experts for technical analysis. We remind the faithful that the Church approaches such matters with appropriate caution and thorough examination before making any determinations about supernatural claims." But the investigation by Church officials was almost secondary to what was happening organically on social media. Millions of people were sharing the image, praying to Carlo Acutis, and reporting their own experiences. The comment sections became testimonial spaces where people described how they'd been helped by Carlo's intercession. A woman in Portugal commented, "I prayed to Carlo last month when my daughter was sick. She recovered completely. Now I see this photo and I believe more than ever that he's actively present and helping us." A teenager in the Philippines wrote, "I was losing faith until I saw this picture. Knowing that saints are actually present and can be photographed gives me so much hope." A man in the United States shared, "My son's been away from the church for years. I showed him this photo, and it started a conversation about faith that we haven't had in a decade." Comment below with your reaction to this photograph. Do you believe this is Carlo Acutis appearing? Do you think there's a natural explanation? Your perspective adds to the global conversation happening around this image. The Santos family found themselves at the center of a phenomenon they never anticipated. Elena's Instagram account went from 300 followers to over 50,000 in 48 hours. Messages poured in from around the world. Some people wanted to thank the family for sharing the photo. Others wanted to ask questions about what they saw and experienced. Some claimed they'd had similar experiences with Carlo appearing in photos or reflections. Miguel, Elena's husband, told a reporter, "We're just a normal family. We go to Mass, we pray, we try to live our faith, but we never expected anything like this. When I look at that photo now, knowing that millions of people have seen it, I feel both honored and overwhelmed. If this really is Carlo Acutis in our photo, it's a gift we want to share with everyone." The family's 3 children, ages 8, 11, and 14, had different reactions. The youngest was excited about being famous. The middle child was confused by all the attention. The oldest, a 14-year-old named Isabella, was profoundly moved. She told her parents, "If Carlo can appear in our family photo, that means saints are real in a way I didn't understand before. They're not just people from history, they're alive and active right now." Father Gustavo organized a special mass at Nossa Senhora Aparecida Church on Friday evening to address the overwhelming interest in the photograph. Over 800 people attended, far more than the church's normal capacity. People stood in aisles and doorways. The church had to set up speakers outside for the overflow crowd. During his homily, Father Gustavo spoke carefully about the photograph. "We don't know definitively what this image shows. The church will investigate thoroughly before making any official statement. But regardless of whether this is Carlo Acutis appearing or a remarkable coincidence, the effect has been undeniable. Thousands of people have been drawn back to prayer. Many have returned to Mass. Countless souls have been reminded that heaven is real and saints are active. If nothing else, this photograph has accomplished what Carlo spent his life doing, pointing people toward Jesus and the Eucharist." Subscribe and turn on notifications because the church's official investigation is ongoing, and results will be released in the coming weeks. We'll bring you updates as this story continues to develop. The technical analysis by digital forensics experts produced interesting findings. Multiple experts confirmed that the image file showed no signs of manipulation using software like Photoshop. The figure appeared to be captured by the camera at the moment the photo was taken, not added afterward. However, experts couldn't definitively state what the figure was, whether a person, a reflection, a light anomaly, or something else entirely. Dr. Ricardo Lopez, a physicist who specializes in optical phenomena, examined the image and stated, "I cannot identify any known optical effect that would produce this particular appearance. Reflections, lens flare, and light artifacts typically have characteristic signatures that this figure doesn't match. I'm not saying it's supernatural, but I am saying it doesn't match any natural photographic phenomenon I'm familiar with." The debate reached beyond Catholic circles. Secular media outlets ran stories about the viral photograph, often with skeptical framing, but acknowledging the genuine interest it had generated. A technology website ran an article titled, "The Viral Saint Photo That Photography Experts Can't Explain." A psychology journal published a piece about the phenomenon of pareidolia, seeing patterns, especially faces, in random images, while admitting this particular case was unusual because the face appeared consistently across multiple sequential photos. Other photographs began surfacing on social media. People searching their own photo collections found images that potentially showed unexpected figures in the background. Some were clearly natural explanations, actual people who happened to be in the frame. Others were ambiguous. A few were striking enough to generate their own viral attention. A woman in Italy posted a photograph taken at her daughter's first communion that showed a figure near the tabernacle that she believed was Carlo. A family in Mexico shared a photo from a pilgrimage site with a similar anomaly. The phenomenon seemed to be spreading, or perhaps people were simply noticing things they'd previously overlooked. Critics argued this was mass hysteria, people seeing what they wanted to see, because the Santos family photo had primed them to look for Carlo in their own images. Believers argued that Carlo was indeed appearing frequently, and the viral photo had simply opened people's eyes to notice his presence. The Santos family photo reached 10 million shares across various platforms by the weekend. It had become one of the most viral religious images in social media history. Catholic influencers, news outlets, and ordinary believers were all participating in spreading and discussing the image. The photograph also sparked renewed interest in Carlo Acutis himself. Searches for information about Carlo increased dramatically. Books about his life saw sales spikes. Parishes reported increased attendance at masses and adoration. Prayer groups formed specifically to pray to Carlo and share testimonies of his intercession. A sociologist studying digital religion published observations about the phenomenon. What we're witnessing is how miracles function in the internet age. Previous centuries had miraculous images that took years or decades to spread through populations. This photograph went from a family's phone to global awareness in under 48 hours. The speed of dissemination is unprecedented, but the human response, seeking meaning, sharing experiences, forming community around shared belief, remains consistent with how people have always responded to perceived supernatural events. The Santos family decided to donate a portion of funds from a book deal about their experience to their parish's youth programs, specifically programs that teach young people about saints and Eucharistic devotion, Carlo's primary concerns during his life. If this photograph is helping people encounter Carlo and through him encounter Jesus, Elena said, then we want to support that mission in any way we can. Father Gustavo reported that the church's adoration chapel had been continuously occupied since the photo went viral. People are coming at all hours to sit before the Blessed Sacrament, many of them specifically thanking Carlo for his intercession and asking for his continued help. Whether or not the official investigation confirms this as a miraculous appearance, the spiritual fruit is genuine and abundant. The Archdiocese's investigation continues. A formal commission has been established to examine not just the photograph itself, but the circumstances surrounding it, the credibility of witnesses, the testimonies of experts, and the spiritual effects. This process typically takes months or years, but in the meantime the photograph continues circulating. It's being printed and framed in homes. It's being used as phone wallpapers. It's being shared in WhatsApp groups and social media posts. It's becoming an icon of modern digital faith, an image that millions of people believe captures a saint's visible presence among us. Whether the Church eventually confirms this as a miraculous appearance or determines it has a natural explanation, the photograph has already accomplished something remarkable. It's reminded millions of people that saints are not distant historical figures, but present, active intercessors. It's demonstrated how social media can spread religious experiences and testimonies at unprecedented speed. It's shown that even in our technological age, people hunger for tangible evidence of supernatural reality. The Santos family, meanwhile, continues their ordinary life, attending Mass, raising their children, going to work and school. But they do so knowing that their simple family photo has touched millions of lives and potentially captured something that defies natural explanation. They've become unwitting evangelists, sharing not a message they crafted, but an image that appeared without their planning or intention. Isabella, the 14-year-old daughter, perhaps summarized it best in an interview. "I used to think saints were kind of boring, just pictures in church of people from a long time ago. But if Carlo can appear in our family photo, then saints are actually here with us. They're not dead. They're more alive than we are. That changes everything about how I understand faith." Saint Carlo Acutis, patron saint of the internet and digital generation, thank you for meeting us where we are, in our photos, on our screens, through our social media feeds. You understood technology and used it to spread faith. You're still doing that from heaven, showing us that the digital world and the spiritual world aren't separate but connected. Help us use technology to draw closer to Jesus rather than further from him. Give us eyes to see your presence in our ordinary moments. Thank you for appearing to the Santos family, whether physically or mysteriously, and for the millions of people who've been touched by that image. Continue to intercede for us. Continue to remind us that heaven is real, saints are active, and Jesus is truly present in the Eucharist. Help this viral photograph lead people not just to curiosity, but to conversion, not just to wonder, but to worship. Amen.